Hi, Zizaran here with another video for Sentinel League. Is Path of Exile unfriendly to new players? And how can we make it better? So, Path of Exile is obviously a very complicated game. You open up the skill tree and there's so many things there. It's already very overwhelming. To some degree, Path of Exile is going to be incredibly unplayer friendly no matter what you do, right? It is just a game that has so much depth. Without ruining a large portion of the game, you can't make it that much more player friendly. But there are still things we can do. One of the things I personally dislike the most as a content creator specifically is respec costs. In a lot of games, and for example, if I'm playing Last Epoch and telling people you can just play around and do whatever you want. But I can't tell people that in Path of Exile because whenever somebody plays around and does whatever they want in Path of Exile, what normally happens is they get to like anywhere from like level 30 to 70 and they're like, okay, I have f***ed up. Apparently just taking strength nodes was not a good idea. And they end up with a really bad build and they're like, Zizaran, how do I respec? And I'm like, well, now you need to eat 50 regrets. You're not going to have that. Probably the worst thing about the new player experience, in my opinion. I think there should be some form of easier early respec. Whether that is the regrets count for more points at lower levels, so that maybe early on doing the fetid pull quest, like those 2 points, they count as 10 points before level 30, or 5 points each before level 50. Something like that, like some sort of either like dynamic scaling or regrets. Like I don't really mind the end game respec cost. I don't mind that if I'm level 80 or 90 and I want to respec, there is a cost behind that. I think that's okay. But I think it is very bad for new players that, especially like pre-level 60, pre-level 70, that it is so large because you don't have access to regret orbs, the quests aren't enough, and if you really messed up, you're just told by content creators, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to make a new build. And then as a content creator, I've then seen several people say like, okay, well, this game isn't for me. Thank you for all your advice so far. I'm going to go find something else. And this seems like a very fixable problem without affecting anything at all at the late game. Whether you give free respecs until 60 or 70, or even at least one respec until 60 or 70. I personally think that would be very healthy for the game. Difficulty in the acts. Obviously, Act 1 and 2 is quite a lot harder right now. So a lot of people find the game incredibly difficult early on. You don't have access to resists. You don't have access to that much early on. And yeah, it can just be a little bit overwhelming. It almost feels a bit more like a Dark Souls game early on. Obviously, they are making the rest of the acts challenging. But it'll be interesting to see. But that is surprisingly something where new players seem very 50-50. A lot of people actually do seem to enjoy the challenge, and a lot of people don't. So that's not necessarily as strong a point as earlier. I do find that a lot of returning old players are very overwhelmed by the difficulty because they're expecting Act 1 and 2 to be quite easy, and when it no longer is, it just creates like this weird feeling, right? So I think that's where a lot of the negative feedback on Act 1 and 2 is coming, whereas new players, from what we've asked, it seems very 50-50. Some people like the challenge, some people don't. Arch Nemesis is a very contentious subject right now. I think it's very bad for the game and doesn't achieve what it's supposed to. It was supposed to achieve that instead of hovering over the monster and looking at 15 different mods to try to decide whether this was a dangerous monster or not, you were supposed to instantly visually see whether it's a dangerous thing or not. So that is a little crazy early on, but yeah. Other than that, there's a lot of Path of Exile could do to make it a new, more friendly experience. It does rely a lot on third-party tools, and let's be real, the game is borderline unplayable without third-party stuff. We saw lately Preach playing the game completely blind and having that experience. And a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, but this isn't the actual new player experience. Players are expected to use third-party tools. Well, then, in my opinion, there should be something in-game pointing to those third-party tools. They have a large community of creators. They can reach out to me or 20, 50, 100 other creators and make some sort of super basic guide. Like the Enki's Arc Witch, like that obviously kind of falls off in the end game, but is an amazing thing to get through the acts. And there's so many creators that would be happy to make some sort of basic tutorial that they can link to in-game or do in the help menu that could be kept up to date every league. You could even feature different creators each time. It's not even important that it's a perfect thing, right? It doesn't need to be super strong. So even if there's like something that you mess up a little bit and isn't optimal, doesn't even matter because it's going to be like something that is like literally anyone that is experienced with the game can make something solid enough to get you to maps, right? Literally anybody. Because when you're just left to your own devices, the game's very unfriendly. Oh, another thing that I really like that some other games have done. I think Pagan Online did this. Maybe Lost Ark as well. And there are ways you could have this work in Path of Exile too, but I've seen other games that basically let you try a fully fledged character and try some endgame abilities, and then something happens in the game. You can sell it whatever way lore-wise. It could be what our character did before it got exiled, and then you get caught, you die in the prequel, and then you end up on the beach, right? And you're stripped of your power. But let players try like an endgame ability and get some sort of idea of what things could look like in-game. Have like even 2 or 3 things that players could try per class. I think that would be very cool. I sincerely doubt they would ever do that. It's a lot of work. And Path of Exile doesn't really focus that much on the new player experience. So just wanted to do a little bit of a rant. Honestly, the biggest thing for me is respec. Let me know what you guys think Path of Exile could do better for new players. If you're a new player, let me know what you think could be improved on the most. Thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do.